In this video, you'll learn about accidentals and alterations. By the end of the video, you'll not only know what they are, but you'll also see them used in a musical context, and you'll understand how to use them. You can get a free download of all the sheet music used in this video from the link in the description below. If you're new to my channel, my name is Buster Birch. I've been playing professionally and teaching music for over 30 years. I've written and published a lot of music tuition books for different instruments which are available worldwide in print and for download. I also run online workshops and courses and have many hours of video lessons on my website and lots more free stuff on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Okay, so this video is going to be about accidentals and alterations, and we're going to look at the 5 accidentals, and I'm going to show you some usage of where you might see those happening in some music and put that into some context. But to start with, we're just going to define what they are. But before we do that, I just want to clear up a couple of misconceptions that we often hear about with this, which is that if you've been taught a keyboard or you're playing a keyboard instrument, sometimes people are told that the black notes are the sharps and flats. But if you play a wind instrument or a string instrument, you know, of course, that that's not true. Any note can be a sharp or flat. So we have 5 accidentals that we use: natural, sharp, double sharp, flat, and double flat. We're going to look at all those, and all 5 of those accidentals can be applied to all of our notes. We use 7 notes in Western music. It's the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A to G, and every single one of those can have every single one of the 5 accidentals applied to it. And I'm going to walk you through that and show you how that works. So what do I mean by accidentals and alterations? Well, alteration is the act of altering the note. And we use the accidentals, which are the graphic symbols we put in front of the note, to show that it's been altered. The other thing we need to be clear about is when we talk about sharpening and flattening notes, what we're doing is we're raising or lowering it by a semitone. One semitone, which is the smallest interval in, again, Western equal tempered scale. So on the piano, it's the next nearest note. Whether or not it's a black or white note makes no difference. Going up, the piano is going to the right. This is where the high notes are. Going down the piano to the left. So obviously, if you're playing a wind instrument, you need to know and learn all your fingerings for the entire chromatic scale across the range of the instrument. And if you're playing string instruments, you may or may not have frets. Each fret is 1 semitone if you have frets on your instrument. So when we talk about raising and lowering, sharpening and flattening, we're talking about altering the note and raising it or lowering it by 1 semitone in the case of sharps and flats, and 2 semitones in the case of double sharps and double flats. So let's get into them. So the very first symbol we've got here we're going to look at is the natural symbol. Okay, so that basically means whenever you play a note, so if we were to play a B, okay, and we put a natural sign on it, that's the same as a B. Okay, so essentially the natural sign means the letter of the note without any sharps or flats. Again, there's some situations where that may come into play. So if you've got sharps and flats in the key signature, and then you want to alter it to an unsharpened or unflattened note, we use the natural sign, and you can either raise or lower a note by adding a natural sign depending on what it was before that. So again, that'll come up in a minute. I'll show you some context to that. In this situation, what we've got is brackets around the accidental. We often do that. We can do that to any 5 of the accidentals can have brackets around them. And when you're doing that, this is often referred to as a courtesy accidental. So it's not strictly required. You don't need to put the accidental there because the note is the same as in the key signature. So in this situation, there's no sharps or flats in the key signature. So when I play my B, it's going to be a B natural. So I don't need the bit natural sign, but I put a courtesy accidental in there with the brackets because that's used as a reminder. Because sometimes if you've already altered the note, then you come back to the regular note, it's easy to forget. But I'll show you that in a minute in context with some music notation. So let's go through. So that's the natural sign. The next we've got the sharp sign, not to be confused with the hashtag. So a sharp sign is when we sharpen a note, or when we add the sharp sign, what we're doing is we're raising the note by one semitone, one half step. So in this situation, we've got a B, and then we've put a sharp sign in front of it. So now we've got this note. So this note is B sharp. That's a B sharp right there. You may be thinking, what's he talking about? That's a C. But of course, it could be either. It depends on the context of the situation of the musical notation as to what you describe the note as. So there'll be some more videos about that. But basically, in this situation, we've got a B sharp. And as I said, every single note, any note can have a sharp on it. And any note can have any little accidentals on it. So that's a B sharp because it's the B. It's gone up one semitone. That's the nearest note. That's my B sharp. Okay. Then the next symbol is the X sign. If you have an X in front of a note, this is a double sharp. So essentially it's been sharpened twice, two sharps, doubly sharped, which is the same as going up a tone. So that's one tone up from the note. That's two semitones up, one tone, two half steps, one whole step. So if I play my B, and then I play my B sharp, and then I play my B double sharp, it's this note. So if you see a B with an X in front of it, that's your note. Now you may be thinking, hang on a minute, that's a C sharp. Or you might think it's a D flat. So again, all the notes can have several different names according to the context of the situation that they're being used in, and essentially it depends on what the key signature is as well. So every note can have a double sharp on it if required. So and there are some situations where you'll see that, and I'll show you those in a minute. So the X is double sharp, twice raised, two semitones or one whole tone. Let's look at the flats now. So this is a flat sign, which is, again, what we're going to do now is we're going to lower the note when we see a flat sign. So I take my B, and because I've got the flat sign in front of it, that means I've altered the note. I've made it a B flat, which is this note, okay? So it's the next nearest note down. It's a semitone down from a B, which gives me a B flat, okay? So that's a B flat right there. And we can, of course, also, we had a double sharp, we can have a double flat. So a double flat is when we lower the note by two semitones or one whole tone. Yeah, two half steps or one whole step. And for this symbol, we used two flat signs, which kind of makes a bit more sense, really. It's a bit more obvious to what it is. So a B double flat, this is my B, this is my B flat, this is my B double flat. It's a tone down from B. So B double flat, there you go, right there, okay? Right, now let's put this into context and let's look at some music where we might see these things happening. So onto the second page of the downloads now. You can get all this notation in the link below. Let's look at some context. So what we've got here is some examples of alterations and accidentals in use. So I've got a couple of bars of music here, of notation, a little melody line. And I've got a key signature now. So I'm in the key of E flat major, 3 flats in the key signature. And underneath I've written in the alterations as they are. So in jazz it's very good. We like to use the numbers a lot to relate the note to the key signature or the chord. Actually, we tend to use that. So we're thinking in harmony. So this melody starts on the 3rd degree of the scale. The 3rd degree, we're in the key of E flat. Okay, so this is our melody is. Okay, so what I've got here, if you can see that 4th note there, that A, I've got a natural sign on there, and this is because we've altered the notes. An alteration, it's a sharp 4. In the key of E flat, we've got an A flat. The 4th degree of the scale is A flat. It's in the key signature there. So what I've done here is I've sharpened that note, but because it's already an A flat, when I sharpen it, it becomes an A natural. Okay, so I have raised the note. I've got a sharp 4 there. The numbers underneath tell me that. Sharp 4. And that is why I've got a natural sign on that note. Now, what's interesting, the other thing about accidentals is that they apply to every note that follows it, that's the same pitch, within the same bar. So until you get a bar line, the bar line resets everything. So can you see there's another A after that follows it? It doesn't have an accidental on it because it doesn't need one, because that is also an A natural, okay? Because unless I put another accidental on to cancel that out, I'm still following the original accidental a couple of notes before, okay? So when you add an accidental, it applies to all the notes in that bar that are the same note, the same pitch. Okay. So what I've got here again is, you see that? Now this is where the courtesy accidental comes in, because in the second bar now the bar line has reset that accidental. So when I get my A in the next bar, that note there, the fourth degree of the scale again, it's an A flat because the bar line has cancelled out the previous accidental. But just to make sure, what I've done is I put the flat sign in with the brackets around. So that's just to remind the performer that it is, and confirm that it is definitely an A flat, and just to remind them that playing an A flat there, not an A natural. They might so they don't play the wrong note. Now of course technically you don't need to do that, but if you've arranged and scored and composed a lot of music, and you're rehearsing you've got a concert with a band and there's no time for rehearsal and they're sight reading the music on the stage, this happens, folks. What you want to do is you want to give the musicians the best chance they can to play your music correctly and not screw it up. So little things like that can be quite helpful when people are sight reading the music, which means they're playing music they're not familiar with and that they haven't rehearsed, they haven't seen before. So this is why we use our courtesy accidentals. Okay, let's look at the next context here of where. So that's a natural sign in context. Now we've got a flat sign. So what we've got here is we've got a C major key signature, no sharps or flats, and we've got a C major scale, but there's an alteration to the 7th degree of the scale. We've flattened the 7th, and so we're using the B flat accidental, the flat accidental on the B there. So we've got a B flat. Okay, so yeah. So the alteration is the act of flattening the 7th. The accidental is what identifies that and tells us that note has been flattened. So we don't play a B there, we play a B flat. Okay, and this is for jazz musicians. This is something we would it's referred to as the Mixolydian mode. It's something that you would play on or a dominant 7th chord. Is very common to see those flats. So you might have a key signature where the key of the piece is in C major, but you might have a chord for one bar, which is a C7 chord, a dominant 7th chord, where you want to play a B flat on that chord. So you've not necessarily modulated and changed key. You're still using the original key signature, but you're altering that one note in that one bar to match the chord symbol, which could, maybe it's a C7. So we need the B flat, not the B natural on that. Okay, so that's a situation where that might come up. Next, not so common, but it's there, it comes up, it can happen. We've got a G flat major key signature. So that's 6 flats in the key signature. Okay, so now again, we may be in the key of G flat. We might play in a tune where the key signature is G flat major, but I might have a chord or one little passage or one little alteration in the melody line where I want to play a minor just in that one bar. Okay, so I don't want to change key signature, I just want to change the melody part for that one bar. I might have a G minor chord in that bar, and so I need to play a minor third. I need to flatten the third for that just that little bit of the melody there. So now, because we've already got a B flat in the key signature, so if I was playing G flat major, I'd be playing B flat anyway. If I want to then flatten that, that's where I need my double flat. Okay, there you go. All right, so B double flat in G flat key signature. Okay, that would be the major third, would be the minor third. So here I'm using this note, which is my B double flat. Okay, all right. So there's some context of where you might see a double flat. Next, we're looking at the sharp sign, where we might want to sharpen a note from a natural to a sharp. So we're using a minor key signature now. So we're in the key of G minor. G minor, 2 flats in the key signature, and what we sometimes refer to as the natural minor scale. Okay, so there would be an F natural if I was just to play that scale without the alteration. But maybe I want to just in that part. So again, the whole piece of music might be in G minor. I might have a G minor key signature, we're playing a tune that's going to resolve to G minor, but maybe for just one bar, I want to use harmonic minor scale. So in this situation, I want to raise the 7th, I'm going to sharpen the 7th degree of the scale, because instead of being a flattened 7th, which is in the key signature, I'm raising it up to be sharpen the 7th to get my harmonic minor scale, which is this. Yeah. Got it? Okay, so in this situation, I've got flats in the key signature, but I've got a sharp in the actual melody part, okay? And finally, we're looking at a double sharp, scenario of a double sharp. So here I've got an F sharp major key signature, so 6 sharps in the key signature. If we play the major scale for that, we get this. Okay, 6 sharps. And what I've got here is that I'm playing, this is actually an augmented chord, or actually it's a dominant 7th sharp 5, it's something we'd use in jazz. So I'm just playing up this chord here, okay, which is a note. Yeah, it's quite a sort of, okay. So can you see that? So root 3rd, sharp 5, and then flat 7. So now I've got a double sharp on the 5th, and the reason is because the 5th is already sharp. It's already sharp in the key signature, so if I want to alter that and play an augmented chord, I want to sharpen that 5th. It's already sharp, so I need to doubly sharp it to make that a sharp 5. The regular 5 is already got a C sharp on it, so to make it an altered sharp 5, and then what I've got is I've flattened the 7th. Well, because the 7th is already sharpened, yeah, F sharp, what I've got here is a natural sign, which is I've flattened it down, so now it becomes an E natural instead of an E sharp, which is in the key signature. Okay, so I hope that helps. Yeah, so essentially any note can have any of the 5 accidentals applied to it. When we talk about alterations, what we're doing is we're talking about chromatic notes that aren't in the key signature, and there's many situations where that may be required for the particular music that you're playing. It might be a short little passage. There could be a chord or a melody within that piece of music that goes outside of the key signature. So we don't want to change key. We just want to have some chromatic notes in for that little short part, that one bar of the melody. And so there we have accidentals and alterations. I hope that was helpful.